Hello, everybody. This is Brian from Necronomicast. Thank you for tuning in for this exciting 13th season of the show. Couldn't do it without you. Now, if you're ever wondering if there was a kind of a fun and inexpensive way that you could support the production of the show, I've got news for you. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/Necronomicast. Every time I have an author on the show, I've purchased their book. Whenever a documentary filmmaker or a creative person is on the show to talk about their project, you know I've supported their project. So if you go to buymeacoffee.com/Necronomicast, that will enable me to continue to do the work that I do here on the show. So I thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart for all of the support and encouragement you've given me over the years. And you know what? If you buy me a cup of coffee at the website, I would be more than happy to deliver a personalized message to you on the show. 2 or more cups of coffee, you're going to get something in the mail. buymeacoffee.com/Necronomicast. And now, on with the show. From the historic, haunted heartland of Omaha, Nebraska, my name is Brian Corey, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all, young and old, to this special episode of the world-famous Necronomicast. My guest tonight for a late-night conversation is a fellow Omaha native who just happens to be one of the most influential modern rock musicians and drummers working today. From 311, Mr. Chad Sexton. Along with his bandmates, Chad has recorded and released 13 studio albums, which have sold millions of copies, toured the United States and world extensively, and have captivated audiences across the globe for decades. Chad and 311 have a special and almost psychical connection with their fans and with each other, and we will explore these connections through the power of music as we chat about his remarkable career. And now, calling in on the Necronomicast, Newsmaker Hotline, multi-platinum, award-winning drummer from the rock band 311, Chad Sexton. Chad, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good. Yeah, thanks for having me hanging out in Omaha.
Yeah, the good life.
That's right.
It's so good to have you back.
Oh, thanks. It's good to be back, man. It's always awesome to come back. I try to get back as many times as I can. And it's just a really beautiful place, obviously, and especially in the summer. Spring and summer is just beautiful. And got a lot of family here still, and just got a lot of memories here still. A lot of past, a lot of my past is here. Obviously, we grew up here, but just great to be back. Feels really good.
Yeah, I really appreciate the time, that we got today to talk and everything. I was looking at your tour schedule as we record this. You got a couple of warm-up shows in California and Ohio before you guys go on your first overseas tour in like 20 years. I got Germany dates here, Poland, Czechia. You got the UK again, Denmark, Netherlands, Paris, France. Amazing. Yeah,
I'll get over there. We haven't been over there in probably almost 20 years. And we're excited to get back. We're ready. We're going to start that in June. And and we went to Japan earlier this year as well in January, and that was good to get back there. We hadn't been there in maybe, 13 years or something, but yeah, we're starting some international stuff up. And it's good to get over there again.
Yeah, let me ask you about Japan real quick, because it's cool that you mentioned that, because my friend Mitch Town, do you know Mitch?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Mitch is killing it with J.R. Robinson, and they had a tour last fall or winter in Japan, and he said it was like a life-changing experience. Just the crowds were amazing and so receptive to everything that they were doing.
Oh yeah, that it's a great place. It's obviously very, very different in most every respect from the United States. And but just like you said, it's just such an experience, and it's so fun to go over there and experience their culture and the different ways of living and how long their culture has been around. And it's yeah, it's something else. So it's really, really great to get back over there again.
Cool. Yeah, I love the fact that you guys are like busier than ever. Most bands after
Yeah.
being together for decades and decades, it's like, oh, well, we'll just roll out a greatest hits tour. But you guys are like, there's always just such this growth with 311. I don't know if it's the cool Omaha mindset of the work ethic, but it's not just your music, man. You're expanding the brand with craft beers, your relaxation products. You guys have these cruises, 311 day festivals. It's like you're never like complacent. You guys are always like trying to achieve more success, but also in a way that like, connects with your fans.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I suppose in reality, it's gone up and down a bit, and just like anyone's life would kind of go up and down. But we have a big part of our life that we've spent together. And, we seem to be on sort of an upswing right now, as sort of a new sort of life injected into the band and new sort of motivation injected into the band. And we, we've been working really hard. We've been working hard last couple years on building the band and building the things associated with that, which would be, like Spotify and social media and stuff like that. And then, of course, we've been working on a new record since last year, and it should come out. We're kind of guessing that it probably will come out, we're hoping, in September. And I think we're about to release a single, hopefully this next month. And all of these schedule things can change. But at this point, I think that's kind of the rough estimate of what it is. And so, yeah, we have a lot of things that we're working on. And like you said, we're very, very busy this year, and like been trying to, build the last couple of years. So that's been interesting as well. So yeah, we're just going forward. We're very fortunate, very lucky to be having a life of music, which we love. And so we, don't kind of want to forget about that. And are in the entertainment industry, but which I also look at as a service industry, both serving sort of the music and serving the people that are supporting you, the people that pay to come see you live. And so, it's almost like you just want to do your best because you're very thankful to have this type of life, basically. So we're putting in a lot of time, and we understand that there'll be a time where we can't put in a lot of time. So that seems to be ticking down, and I'm sure that'll get here sooner than later. But at this point, we're just doing our best, and while we can, and while we're healthy, and just putting our time in while we can.
Yeah, I love it. It's been really a lot of fun as a fan and an Omaha guy and a fellow West Side grad to watch your guys's your hard work and everything pay off. Because I remember like opening for you guys back at the Ranch Bowl shows and things like that when I was in Fever Trees. But just like seeing like your work ethic and things like you mentioned earlier, the ups and downs that are inevitable in a career in the entertainment business. Like, I mean, you guys had people know all about like your RV catching fire, the ups and downs of the success, setbacks. The worldwide pandemic. But there's always been a sense of like this hardworking and this ethic and this honesty too that I really appreciate you guys. Like during the pandemic, when you guys couldn't tour. and do those things. You put out these great streaming live shows, like where you played down your albums and proceeds went to help, like guys that help out with your merch and your sound guys and your touring crew. I mean, I thought that was really excellent of you guys to do those kinds of things. So yeah, like a service industry for sure. Not only service the music and the integrity of the creative process, but those that, that depend on you
Yes.
for their livelihood too. I thought that was a great move.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that and a lot of help to get that up and running and to make it as sort of elaborate and with creative ideas, which we had a lot of help from people getting that together. And we're happy we could do it. It was a cool idea at the time, and it turned out really good. It turned out great. And, we were happy to do it and lucky again that we could do it. So, it turned out great.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, people that tune into my show looking for like paranormal and strange angles to the conversation, it'll pay off in a second because, and we'll get to it because I'm really intrigued by, in the last year and a half or so, I've been really getting into like paranormal, not just ghosts and monsters and UFOs, but also like telepathy and psychical connections between people, living and dead, but psychical connections between people. And so like, in a minute, I want to ask you your thoughts about like the connectiveness between musicians in a band and also, the people in the audience that watch you. But I got to ask you though, because you're a super creative guy. Like I go to ChadSextonArt.com. I know you've got, you're really interested in visual arts, but like not only are you this world-class percussionist, drummer, but like you've done a ton of the recording and mixing for your albums as well. So, I mean, do you like wearing different hats in 311, but also in your creative life, like different things to stimulate you creatively?
Yeah, I mean, all those things have come from a deep love and interest in those sort of things, especially the things surrounding music. So, I mean, we've had a fun go at it. I've enjoyed, working on music in general, whether it's mixing or recording somebody or actually recording myself. It's, recording is sometimes stressful when you're recording yourself, but, it's sort of, the longer that we've done it, the more I enjoy it at this point, because we've been doing it a minute and there's some experience that goes into that. And that's what's enjoyable. That's what's enjoyable is relying on all of your experience because it's you've seen different problems exist before and you maybe dealt with them a certain way. In terms of the recording process or miking up something or a mixing thing. And so all these things, you learn from. And so if you do that for, a couple decades or whatever, it's very enjoyable. And I often say to people or any of the sports guys I know, I'm like, man, I wish you guys could be doing this at like 50 because it's been really enjoyable to play live and record as personally for me as I've gotten older. And it's because of the experience. And so, whatever it might be a venue that sounds weird, but I've heard it before, so I know how to adjust to it. Or if you're coming out on a festival and you want to be raging, you want to just really go and I have to like, hey, control yourself or you're gonna wear yourself out by the drum solo. You need to, so all these things you kind of learn the hard way, which isn't that fun. And then, as you get older, you're more experienced and relying on that is so enjoyable for me, and it's, so I find that I think I'm more consistent even at this age than I have been in the past. And and that's really enjoyable. But yeah, all these different hats come from a love of music, and I've absolutely loved doing it and love working on music, and luckily that's still with me to this day.
Nice. Yeah. Instilled by teachers such as like Joe Voda here in town and also the great Roger Groth.
Yeah, there's so many people in Omaha because I was in the drum corps in Omaha as well, and I had, my first drum teacher was Steve Thomas, who taught at Drum City here, but I have had a lot of teachers throughout the years in different capacities. Yeah, as Jim Johnson.
Yeah.
Was early on. Roger Groth, of course. Steve Thomas was a huge influence on me, and he introduced me to drum corps, and that kind of changed my life, and that's pretty much what gives me my own style in rock music, sort of a rock groove drum corps style, infused into rock music or pop music, however you want to look at it. But there's others, Brian Moorhart, Steve Rabine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I realized at a certain point that, wow, I'm standing on the shoulders of all these dudes that helped, and not only great teachers, but great people. And so much to learn from all that. And really, really thankful for those experiences and those people in my life. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was never in like the realm and drum and bugle corps or the Skywriters or anything like that, but I was huge into marching bands, not only in high school, but did a lot, had a nice career in the Cornhusker marching band. So like, just the preciseness of the NU drum line and the pit. And, I met like Brian Manley there in the Cornhusker marching band.
Yeah.
But just like the execution of the movements and just the preciseness of it, I really loved, there was so much correlation between like a hot brass section and a really tight drum line. It was really those were great learning experiences for me as well.
Yeah. Such fun times. And I was marching in the 80s there, and working at Drum City here in Omaha off and on, and playing in the jazz band at Westside, Go Warriors. And it just, honestly, when I reflect back on that, it was some of the best times of my life. Absolutely 100%. And I think that's kind of why I come back so much, to kind of, I know some people are nostalgic and some people are not nostalgic, but I'm probably over nostalgic. And so I get back here and go to the different places where I, have had food and, just all those different experiences, see the people that I can see, like my old drum teachers, and I'm hoping to do that, still, hoping to get together with Steve here this week sometime. So, and of course I always see Joe Voda, and, so it's, it's just a great visit, and, very fortunate to have these experiences here is what I find. So it's good.
I was just thinking while you were talking about like nostalgia and thinking about my time in the Cornhusker marching band. And if I had to put my finger on when I really felt like connected as a musician in a lot of ways to an audience, it was like when I was in the Cornhusker marching band, because people are, you got 80, 90,000 people standing up on their feet, clapping along with you as you're performing. No Place Like Nebraska, and they're screaming "Go Huskers" in the breaks of the song. So that kind of got me thinking about like this, these concepts that I've been kind of batting around in my head the last year and a half or so about like connectedness of spirit. Like obviously you five guys have been working together for decades, and you guys are all great friends and like brothers in a way. And so like when you guys get together and you perform either your old stuff or you're working on new stuff. It's almost like you, and I'm just kind of guessing that you have like an intuitive sense of like, well, might go here, or Tim might, start doing this a little bit. Or when Peanut starts doing this, you might not even have to think about it. Like you instantly start doing it with your hands or with your feet, or you guys kind of almost like unify, and using your old band name Unity, you guys might like almost unify as like 5 people in one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that does happen from the experience of just being together and playing so many shows together, really. So yeah, I think some of those things are automatic. And it's a pretty cool thing. It's again, as a musician, really enjoyable to have that happen. Yeah, I guess we don't think about it too much, but yeah, it's definitely in the live setting. That's what's going on, and what else is going on is we're feeding off the crowd a lot, and I'll say, especially as you get older, to get that energy, if you're trying to do some sort of high energy rock performance and you're older, you might be missing a bit of that energy or even motivation. But when you see people that are excited or they're loving hearing you play, then that tends to give you energy. And, we feed off that big time, because if there's, if they're not enjoying it as much as you'd like, it does affect your energy. And, we say it all the time, but yeah, we can't do it without the fans, the entire career and performing the way we do. And I know that sounds cliche, and maybe some of them don't believe that that's true, and we're just saying that to be nice, but that's not the case at all. It's absolutely true. And so it's I think some of them know that. So it's kind of a sort of a symbiotic experience, together that is sort of special at a lot of our shows. So that's an aspect of it too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like your, the lyrical content that you guys put together, it's always super positive, always about loving your life, always about finding connections and unity across different realms of thought or different ideas. It's always like there's always a commonness, and also like being positive and loving your life. So I think those kinds of things too, like capture people's spirit and capture people's imaginations in ways they might not even truly understand. And then you put a kick-ass beat behind it. You know what I mean? So they're like, it's inevitable that there would be some kind of connection. And I'm thinking like, telepathic, psychical. I mean, yeah, that's kind of far out there, but in a way, human consciousness and human history, we've always been unified sometimes over like tribal beats and sounds like that kind of resonate in our core just from where we've, evolved from. So you take all that positive messaging, great visual show, but like there is, and you said like the word cliche, but no, I think there really is something to be said about how people open themselves, even for a 90-minute show. Like there's something like one big organism, I think, Nick says, like jump up and down like one big, living thing. And I think there's a lot to be said about that, like truly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing, and it's, again, very enjoyable as I'm older, to experience that, and I mentioned it before, but I'm like, man, I wish some of these Force guys, could play until they're my age, because I think there's kind of a, maybe, I guess I can speak for myself, a rough period where the physicality becomes less, but then the mentality is growing and the experience is growing. And then there's almost a switch, and that switch is just so enjoyable for a performer. And, so yeah, so obviously, being super physical with the sports, they're not going to be able to do that. But I'm like, man, I wish you guys could get to that level, because what happens mentally, in my opinion, is great and enjoyable, and they don't have to stop playing, but professionally it seems like, but but maybe they continue on and enjoy some of those things. But it's very enjoyable and sort of a trippy, special thing, to have happen, and maybe something you don't think about when you're starting out, or go play a show that sort of relationship is going to happen with the guys on stage and the audience. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to experience.
I'm excited to hear the new album. You said maybe September or so, sometime this fall. So like, as you guys are putting together, this is your 14th record. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 14th, like a professional signed album. I know you did the Omaha albums, but 14,
Yeah.
did you work with a specific producer this time around, or did you guys self-produce?
Well, yeah, there were a couple guys involved. But as far as um, engineering and producing, we have Scott,
mm-hmm.
Scott Ralston, who's been with us since, we first met him in 1992. And so he's been here for most of the time, and he's helped us record a lot and helped us record and many times. And he helps with some writing as well. And so he's pretty much a big part of the album. And we have our buddy Colin and Tim, and Colin is mixing the record, and Tim, I know, Tim Pagnotta helped write some songs and maybe engineer a little bit on some of those songs. So yeah, there's been a few dudes to help, and so yeah, we're real excited about it. We're almost done with it, and it will hopefully I think we're just working on adjusting the last mixes here, so we're real close.
You guys are past the days of dubbing a tape and taking it out to your car, right?
Yeah, that's sort of a 90s thing, but yeah, you have to test it in different spots now, because everyone listens on a phone, and you want to hear it professionally as well on some good speakers, and maybe a Bluetooth speaker, and maybe still a car, but it's Bluetooth from your phone or whatever. But you kind of just take a sort of summary of all that you're hearing and try and make those adjustments if other people agree. Like if Colin will agree that maybe the hi-hat should come up, then he'll do that, So it's been a good process for us. It's been good.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just thinking, over the 14 albums, like you guys recorded to tape, ADATs, Pro Tools, just every kind of medium, or every kind of all the range of technology is incredible over the day since 92. I mean, I remember when I bought my first, like Tascam and then Yamaha, 4-track recorder to do stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool, man! I could do some multi-tracking at home, and then ADATs came out. I'm like, whoa, my first ska record that I did with Zach Hexum, we did that on a 16 track, like a like a Fostech 16 track, and we thought we were the shit, like this is amazing.
Yeah, that tape is a great format. That stuff still sounds good. The ADATs, one of the worst formats that ever existed, because those players haven't held up. We might have some ADAT tapes, and it's so hard to find a player that even works anymore. And so that wasn't too good. But now we're on to the Pro Tools, and people use Pro Tools and Logic, and I'm sure others, maybe Ableton or whatever. But it's it's been a long history of different, different mediums to record on, and we're sort of proud of that history, because we, it's a thing that has gone to the past now, but it's really, really cool.
Yeah, this technology is really it's daunting, but it's exciting too, because it's funny. Like the last record that I recorded and produced, and Jim Homan mixed it, and I was sitting on my couch the other day. This was like 3 or 4 years ago, and he texted me the other day, and just out of the blue, he sent me a remix of one of the tunes from the album that I produced with my friends, and
Right.
he's just like, hey, I just got some new plugins, and I got some new, I set up the room differently. I just did a remix for you, and I was like, wow, that sounds crazy good. Like the old mix was great because he does great work, and I was just listening to it, but it's just like, it's funny, like 4 years later, he's got these new plugins, and he can adjust the reverb this way, and he can adjust the gates this way, and he can do EQ compression and all this stuff this way. And I'm like, damn, man, it's only, it's like, it's a never ending process to tinker with your sound.
Oh yeah. The plugins, they've really updated those things in the last, 4 or 5 years to sound really good. Maybe at first they sounded sort of brittle or metallic or what have you. But at this point, there's a lot of great plugins out there that are sounding really good.
Yeah. The artistry too of like a real recording session. Like I know, like I was reading articles like when you guys were recording Sound System with Hugh Padam, and just little things like instead of reaching for the EQ knob, it's just like, oh, let's move the microphone a little bit. Do you notice that like, like with virtual instruments and plugins and things like that, I'm nervous or scared, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just the old man in me, but I'm just like nervous that like virtual instruments will get to a place where it doesn't matter where the microphone is because they'll fix it later. But I really appreciate like good engineering and craftsmanship of putting a microphone in the correct spot, the sweet spot, or doing something interesting with like physical engineering of an album or a sound or an instrument.
Oh yeah, that's a gift. And we've worked with a lot of great producers and engineers that have that gift, and have learned a lot from all of them. And so I'm always about, at this point, trying to get it right with the least amount of like stuff added to it, so that you can just have this raw track that sounds good. And then later on, you can do whatever you want to it, and if you go too far, that's okay, because you can back it off to the original raw, great sounding track. So, I'm still old school like that, but still, there's a lot of, our first producer used to say, well, there's a million ways to skin a cat, meaning there's many different ways to accomplish what you want to accomplish in audio. And even with all the digital stuff and all that, all the new things that are out there, I think that that's still true. Like there's a million ways to accomplish what you want to do. It just matters where you're going, what you want to be able to get in the end. And then of course, if you go too far, if you can back that off and get back to a starting point, so I think that's still true today. And a lot of people have different techniques and different ways they do things. And there is no real, right one way of doing things, so people can have all these different techniques and all of them can get great sounding stuff, so it's, that's where we're at nowadays.
Yeah. Now here's the funny thing. Last summer I was rebuilding my deck, like rebuilding the stairs and doing some new decking on my deck at home. And I was like, and this was anticipation for you guys coming to play the show. What's the name? The Astro, like you did that outdoor show. And then
Right.
And then
Yeah.
then the big face on the barroom floor honor at the Omaha Press
Yeah.
Club. So I'm like, I'm going to go back and if I'm going to toil outside in the Omaha sun, I just got on Apple Music and I just started re-listening like in order all your different records. And there's different sonic qualities to each one, songwriting qualities to each one, but there's like a core 311 identity to every one, no matter who the producer is, no matter the era, no matter the recording format. And that's pretty rare too. Like it's you guys definitely stuck true to your vision and not sounded old, always trying to do something fresh, but always had like that core kind of 311 ideal, that sound.
Yeah, that's true. I think, I think that comes from personalities, and then it comes from tones, and it comes from energy, that will, sort of transcend what type of mics, what type of producer, what type of format. And I think we're lucky in a way to have that, and I feel very lucky as a drummer to sort of have a certain signature sound. And, because that's, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a bad thing, but it's, in this case, it's turned out to be a good thing for me. And, I think it's just, we're lucky in the way that that's happened that way. And, I don't, obviously it's not something that we would start out thinking like, or have a goal of, is like, hey, we're going to do this. And no matter who records us, we're going to sound like us, so it's nothing that we purposefully did. That's why I call it a little bit of luck. And, but yeah, I'm happy about that gives us our sort of, identity. And yeah, that's just a thing that that's sort of built in, at this point, especially. But it's, we don't really think about that too much. We just go forward and play our music and whatever it is, learn the new songs, record new songs, go out and play a festival. And no matter where we're at, we're us. So yeah, I think we're kind of fortunate that way.
Yeah. It's cool how it translates from a record. Like I said, I was listening to all those albums again, just kind of burning through them before we saw you live. And then I was like, man, live, you guys sound just as good live as the records. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of studio tricks in terms of like you guys are playing the intricate, hard, tight rhythms, lush melodies, Nick singing's on point, but then Dr. Dre calls them the sprinkles, like the little things in your production, like sound effects and things like that, different things in the production. Like those are apparent, and I'm sure those are triggered on stage, or Scott Ralston's triggering those too. So it's like it's such a quality, a consistent quality of whether you're listening to it a 30-year-old record or if you're watching them on stage. That's pretty amazing that you guys are able to keep that high quality in a live show.
Yeah, that was sort of a goal of ours, is to just execute, coming from the drum corps point of view, execute the music as well as we can, be really tight, play together, have high energy. And, like you said, the effects and stuff most of the time are coming from Scotch, and I'll also say Tim as well, because Tim has so many different sounds, and what's cool about that is if you don't really pay attention to that, then there's sort of you might not notice it, but then when you pay attention, you're like, oh man, these are some different things going on here, and did these different songs. And so there's a lot of different tones, a lot of different effects that he uses to make those songs sound the way they do. And so I've tried to do that in a seamless way. And so that kind of was a goal. But yeah, it helps having Scott because he was there for the records and he knows what's going on and he knows what happened in the mix down. And so we try and translate that to the live setting as best we can.
Man, as a music fan, it was a really great year for Tiny Desk concerts. Not only did I get to see Juvenile's Tiny Desk concert, which was great, but then like you guys had one too. And how much fun was that to be asked and then to do a Tiny Desk concert?
Oh, it was great. I mean, it's I think it's a challenge for any band to do it because it's such a different setup and you're sort of limited, like on stage we have in-ears and we have some other tracks rolling with us, sometimes in some songs. And so there it's kind of a bare bones situation, it's like you don't even use in-ears, they don't even have any of that. So it's just kind of a raw bones type of performance. And so, when you're used to performing a different way and you've done that a while and you have some experience doing that, you're kind of, almost freaked out in a way. You're like, oh shit, I'm not going to have the in-ears up there. And okay, so is it,
or your full kit too. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so, and then I was like, well, this is, pretty much some of it is high energy rock. So, if I play in this small room, it's going to be so loud. So, you have to address that, and so I use these type of Vader sticks that are almost like a bunch of wrapped bamboo. And so that sort of worked. And then it was just feeling really natural for me to play traditional, which I can say that I've never done in a 311 performance ever. And, but it just felt right, so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this, so, I hope it's not a mistake because they're recording this,
right.
So, those are the type of things that your brain's dealing with. And then while you're performing, you're like, wait, my finger really hurts from playing traditional. Was this the right choice? Like, hey, just calm down. Calm down and deal with it. You're going to get through it. Just calm down, deal with it. Don't freak out, So there's those adjustments, and once again, relying on the experience to be like, hey, calm down, just do your best and with your brain, be quiet, just do your best, man. And, so once again, it's good and fulfilling to rely on your experience and, it's good to take risks, playing traditional like I haven't. And then, so, yeah, I think it turned out really, really good. It was, obviously we were honored to be asked to do that. And we had a good time doing it and it turned out pretty good.
Yeah. It's good for me as a musician, to hear someone like you say, like you have to sometimes calm your brain down and shh too. Like yeah. I'm not playing in front of the crowds that you are, but like once a year I get to play either the Star Spangled Banner and Take Me Out to the Ball Game at the College World Series here in Omaha. And I've done that for like 26 years. And there's anywhere from 19 to 22,000 people there. And it's like, I'm at a point now with my experiences. Like I know how to play the trumpet. I know how the song goes. Right. I know what buttons to push and I know when to breathe, but I still have to go, shh,
Yeah.
Still have to calm myself down because it's just like that anxiety, like, yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that you have to do that too.
Oh yeah. If you let that go, it can end up real bad.
Yeah. Quick.
And that, that comes from, like I said earlier, learning the hard way. Yeah. So it's just not worth it. Like indulging that anxiety, so it's, you just, like I said, you just do your best and then you got to be okay with your best at this point. Like that's where I'm coming from. And, Yeah, no, especially, in front of your own crowd. I can't say I feel any anxiety or anything like that, but in terms of festivals where, you know, that there's probably someone in the front row that's waiting for another band, or they're like, yeah, I didn't come here to see you, and they have an attitude and this and that. That's okay. That doesn't bug me or anything, but it's just like, if something starts to go wrong, like sometimes it's called a throw and go, which means, like, even on this last festival, I just played in Orlando on Saturday. The last show we had was a week before. And then we just fly there. And then the next day we just show up for the show. There's no sound check. There's no nothing. So you just got to kind of be like, okay. And then you're in front of the festival crowd, which is pretty large. And so at that point, you got to be like, okay. And then if problems start to happen, like, oh my God, I can't hear whatever it is. Oh my God. So, I just like, that's okay. That's okay. You'll adjust it. Just do your best. Calm, just relax. Just relax. You'll get there. You'll get there. What do you expect? This is the first song. What do you expect your body to be doing right now? It's the first song. Calm down. You'll fix all these things. So yeah, I still have to kind of do that, and in certain situations, but once again, like I said, that's like enjoyable for me. It's like, before I might not know how to fix that. And before that might spin out of control. And then my playing is all forced and I can't really reach a groove. And I'm like, and I'm getting frustrated, and that's building. And then I'm just like, God, I played like shit. Oh God, that sucked,
Yeah.
So I really haven't had one of those, thank God. And the last, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I experienced that, but
Chad, in the time we have remaining, and I've really enjoyed hanging out with you here. In the time we have remaining, one thing I wanted to bring up for my listeners that are into the bizarre and the strange and the weird and the crypto and the UFO and all that kind of stuff. So like, I always appreciate the fact that 311's got this connection to like UFO and alien culture. I was super excited being a weird kid in the 90s when I bought the Blue album and I opened it up and I saw that you guys were wearing the gray alien kind of eyeliner or the makeup and the cool like NASA photos on the inside, and like I see a lot of your tour art, very heavy on UFO art, and where does that come from you guys? You guys just like the looks of it, or do you like out there in the California, Arizona deserts, and do you see things or experience things?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know guys have experienced some things, but back with the Blue record, I think that came from SA and I were listening to Coast to Coast a lot, Coast to Coast AM, Art Bell, back then. And of course, just a lot of different books that were out back then. This is kind of, before the internet and everything. And it was just a subject that we were interested in. And I've always been of the philosophy that, one of my favorite things to have in the adventure of life is mysteries. And mysteries are so intriguing and, make you, think or ponder about different scenarios and different realities and different situations that exist, because we're simply just kind of mere humans here and just can't really understand the full scope of everything that is going on. I mean, you can only see a certain section of the light spectrum. You can only hear a certain spectrum of the audio frequencies that are available. And when you sort of realize that and can imagine, what else might exist, and what else can't you see? And so it just opens up, and some people will be like, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will be like, well, who knows? And that's, and that just intrigues, it's intriguing to sort of, I don't know. It's just a really exciting thing for me to ponder different scenarios in that. And in terms of where we were coming from as young guys, we were in our 20s and stuff, we were, and you hear about all this stuff or stories about from Area 51 or whatever it is. It's pretty interesting, but I also know that, I guess the best way to say it is like, maybe you'll never know. And maybe some of this is disinformation, and maybe some of it is real. And so I just try and keep an open mind to the possibilities of both. And I base it off of my experience in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's things that you would want to be true that are exciting or different or out of the norm of normal life that we're all used to. And those things are exciting, but sometimes I got to get rid of my bias and understand that, anything's possible. It could be disinformation. It could be other entities that are maybe not from outer space, or maybe they're from underground, or maybe they're from, and I will say it, over the ice wall. You just, because there is the term extraterrestrial. So terrestrial meaning lands.
Right.
So I keep an open mind about it. And for me, that's fun. For me, that's exciting. And for some people, I guess it troubles them.
Yeah.
And for some people, they might be scared about it. And, you love those people that ridicule it right away. And it's like, they're the people that know. And it's like, well, I'm not saying one thing or another is true, but I'm saying, I don't think anybody knows the truth. I don't think anyone knows exactly where you're living. I don't think if there are beings from another planet or underground or over an ice wall. But for me, like I said, it's just extremely fun to think about these things and ponder, and I have a blast with it. But yeah, back in the day, it came from us wanting to investigate mysteries, wanting us to hear more of people's experiences that say they had an experience. And that's sort of where it came from. Now, we still do that imagery, but it's sort of a different thing for me now.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, and I understand, yeah, the Air Force is saying that they showed this. Here's video of this. Here's video of that. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I still don't know.
Yeah.
I still don't know. So I know what I want to be true, but I still don't know. But the imagery that we still use is simply because we've had this sort of style or motif about that in the past, and just carrying that on into the future. And I'm sure if you ask the guys in the band, they're all going to have different opinions about this subject. And
yeah,
and it's something we don't talk about. And but like I said, for me, it's just, mysteries are one of the greatest things, especially for a young mind, to want to know the truth, to explore it, and to be intrigued by it and interested in it. And it's a healthy process to question things, and it's a healthy process to reinvestigate what you might have been told as a young person, and just to open those beliefs up and reinvestigate those, to me, is very fulfilling and very fun. So
I love that answer. I love everything about it because now we both have some gray in our beard. So, I mean, we've had some time to think about these things. And for me, when I was younger, I was always like the pursuit of answers and looking for this and looking for truth. And now I'm more resigned to the fact that these are mysteries and they're not going to be solved in my lifetime. And that's okay because I'm having fun exploring them. And you mentioned Art Bell.
Yes.
In my studio, I've got a framed,
awesome.
Got a framed Art Bell picture right there.
There he is.
I love it. And I'm so appreciative of the time that we've been able to share these ideas and talk about your career and just about Omaha and about good times and bad. And to have you on my show, what a treat, man. I really appreciate everything that you've done musically, your career, how you've been a good ambassador for our city and state and our high school. And just everything else, man. Thanks for your time and thanks for everything that you do.
Oh, thanks so much, Brian. Yeah, anytime, man, you want to do this, just let me know. Thank you.
Word up. Word up indeed. Episode 275 with the great Chad Sexton making an appearance on the show. So excited to have him on, and I'm so thankful to my friend Linda who helped coordinate that effort, aligning the stars, aligning the planets, so Chad and I could have that conversation and so that you could listen in and enjoy. I've been a big fan of 311 since I was like in middle school, and we'd go up to the high school to hear the West Side Concert Jazz Band featuring like Chad, Nick, I think Tim was in there. So much fun. And I was like, I want to be like those guys. They made band cool. Band is cool. In episode 276, we'll feature my friend, the saxophone player behind me, Mr. Andrew Vogt, as we talk about his new album coming out and his paranormal experiences. Andrew's been a past guest on the show, and he's also been featured on my live show that featured psychic medium Cindy Keza and the great Johnny L. Tenney at the Benson Theater last year. So Andrew Vogt, episode 276. It's been a great week for positivity in Necronomicast land, and just a lot of kind messages and a lot of just a lot of good vibes. My Buy Me a Coffee campaign is chugging along. Going to use that to upgrade some studio equipment this year. And I thank you so much for just all the support and listenership and kind words. So with that, I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great life. Now, friends, go get some sleep. Huh?